Let us continue with the lesson. Your part 2 starts now. Let us see the next important topic, direct tax and indirect tax. What is direct tax? It is a tax levied on person's income and wealth and is paid directly to the government. The burden of such tax cannot be shifted. The tax is progressive in nature. That is, those are earning more have to pay more tax, and those earning less will be paying less tax. It is levied according to the paying capacity of the person, that is, more from the rich and less from the poor people. Taxes are being recommended, that is fixed by the Central Board of Direct Taxes CBDT, which is under the control of Ministry of Finance, Government of India. The best example for direct tax we can give is the income tax. See the picture, direct taxes and indirect taxes. Let us see what do you mean by direct tax and indirect tax. In direct taxes, the ultimate burden of paying the tax lies with the individual. The responsibility of paying the tax also lies with the individual. So, example for direct tax is income tax. When you earn income, you are responsible for tax payment and you also have the burden. Based on your income, the taxation also will be fixed, and the individual, each and every individual is responsible to pay the tax directly to the government. See the indirect tax. The ultimate burden of tax payment lies with the purchasers, but the responsibility of paying the tax lies with the shopkeeper. For example, GST. When you buy stuff, that is when you buy any commodities, the shopkeeper is responsible for tax payment, but he can collect it from you. When you are buying something from the shop, the whole sole responsible of paying the tax lies in the hands of the shopkeeper, but he will not pay the tax directly, he will collect it from the purchasers. These are the differences between the direct tax and indirect tax. We will be seeing in detail about both these taxes in the next topics. Yes, let us see the merits of direct taxes. See the tabular column. The merits and the descriptions of direct taxes are given. See what are the merits: equity, certainty, elasticity, and economy. See what does it mean by equity. Direct taxes are progressive, that is, the rate of tax varies according to tax. Example, income tax satisfies the canon of equity. So the canon of equity is followed in direct taxes, and it is also progressive in nature. Based on your income, the taxation rate also will differ. Second, certainty. Canon of certainty can be ensured by taxes. Example, an income tax payer knows when and at what rate he has to pay the income tax. He knows the certainty here. Next, elasticity. Canon of elasticity is also ensured by the direct tax. Direct tax is income elastic in nature. That is, as the income level increases, the tax revenue to the government also increases. This is called as elasticity. And last one is the economy. It is very economical in nature. That is, the collection cost is relatively low. The cost of collecting this direct tax is very low. Taxpayers pay the tax directly to the state. There is no need of intermediates going and collecting the taxes. So these are all the merits of direct taxes. Let us go to the next topic, demerits of direct taxes. We have already seen the merits. Now let us see what are the demerits of the direct taxes. See, the 4 demerits are given here: unpopular, productivity affected, inconvenient, and a tax evasion. See, the first one, it is very unpopular in nature. That is, it is generally unpopular and it is very inconvenient. It is less flexible. Then next is productivity affected. It adversely affects the productivity. See the reason given: the citizens are not willing to earn more income because in that case they have to pay more tax. If you are earning more and more, you have to pay more and more tax also. So inconvenient, the taxpayers find it inconvenient to maintain accounts, submit returns, and pay tax in lump sum. What do you mean lump sum? Large in amount. Last one, tax evasion. The burden is so heavy that taxpayers always try to evade taxes. What's the meaning of evade taxes? They will not come forward to pay the tax. So what will happen is, this leads to the generation of black money. What do you mean by black money? Yes, income that is earned illegally. These are the demerits of the direct taxes. It is unpopular, it affects productivity, it is inconvenient, and it leads to tax evasion. Yes, next type of tax, indirect tax. What is indirect tax? It is referred to as a tax charged on a person who purchases the goods and services, and it is paid indirectly to the government. The tax burden can be easily shifted to another person. It is equally levied on all persons, whether they are rich or poor. Let us see the different types of indirect taxes. The different types of indirect taxes are, you all know this already, but let us see: excise duty, sales tax, custom duty, entertainment tax, and service tax. What is excise duty? It is payable by the manufacturer, who shifts the tax burden to retailers and wholesalers. The responsibility of paying this excise duty lies in the hands of the manufacturer, but he, instead of paying by himself, will shift the burden to the retailers and the wholesalers. Next one, sales tax. It is paid by a shopkeeper or retailer, who then shifts the burden to customers by charging sales tax on goods and services. Yes, here the responsibility of paying the tax lies in the hands of the shopkeeper. He, instead of paying, shift the burden to the customers. How? By charging sales tax on goods and services. Next is the custom duty. It is a tax levied on goods coming from outside the country. It is ultimately paid by consumers and retailers. Even though the goods are coming from outside the countries, the people inside the country are the buyers or the consumers. So the burden goes to the hands of consumers and retailers. Next, entertainment tax. It is a burden on the cinema theatre owners, who transfers the burden to cinema goers. Yes, you can see in your tickets, specifically it will be mentioned entertainment tax, and certain amount will be mentioned there, that is paid by the cinema goers, but the burden is on cinema theatre owners. Instead of he paying, he is shifting the burden to the goers, that is us. And last one is the service tax, charged on services like telephone bills, insurance premium such as food bill in a restaurant, etc. Yes, you know this. For whatever service we are getting from the people, we have to pay for them. That automatically goes to the government. That is a service tax. Yes, merits of indirect taxes. Let us see what are all the merits of indirect taxes. Wider coverage, equitable, economical, checks harmful consumption, and convenient. See the first one, wider coverage. All the consumers, whether they are rich or poor, have to pay indirect taxes. Yes, all the citizens, whether they are rich or poor, whatever their status, they have to pay the tax. Indirect taxes cover more people than the direct taxes. Next, equitable. Indirect tax satisfy the canon of equity. That is, higher taxes imposed on luxuries used by rich people and lower taxes imposed on poor people. Next, economical. Here the collection cost is less, as producers and retailers collect tax and pay to the government. In the case of direct tax, a separate person is appointed to collect the tax, but whereas in indirect tax, the producers and retailers collect it and hand over to the government. Next, checks harmful consumption. Taxes are imposed on those commodities which are harmful to health. Example, tobacco, liquor, etc. This type of taxes, we can also call it as sin taxes. And last one, convenient. It is levied on commodities and services. Consumers pay the tax along with the price. They do not feel the burden of paying the tax. Yes, the consumers do not have any extra burden while paying for any of the commodities. The tax also they will be paying along with the price. So these are all the merits of the indirect taxes. Yes, we have seen the merits of indirect tax. Now let us see the demerits of indirect tax. See the demerits. Highest cost of collection, inelastic in nature, regressive, uncertainty, and no civic consciousness. See the first one, highest cost of collection. The cost of collection is higher than the direct taxes. Huge money has to spend to collect the tax. So cost of collection is more in the case of indirect tax than compared to the direct tax. Second, inelastic. It is less elastic compared to direct taxes. That is, the burden falls on the consumers. Third, it is regressive in nature. That means both rich and poor persons have to pay same amount of taxes irrespective of their income. Next, uncertainty. The rise in tax increase the price and reduces the demand for goods. So, the expected revenue from collection is uncertain. Last one, no civic consciousness. Since the tax is hidden in price, the consumers are not aware of paying the tax. The tax that the people are paying are not known for them because it is hidden in the price that they are paying to the retailers or the shopkeepers. So these are all the demerits of the indirect taxes. That is, highest cost of collection, it is inelastic, burden lies in the consumers, regressive, all have to pay the same amount of taxes, uncertainty, the revenue from the collection is uncertain, and no civic consciousness among the people. We have seen what is direct tax, what is indirect tax, what are the merits and demerits of direct tax, and what are the merits and demerits of the indirect tax. Now they have given the comparison chart for the direct tax and the indirect tax. Let us see what it is. Look at the chart given. Basis for comparison, direct tax and indirect tax. See, first they have given the meaning. Direct tax is referred to as a tax levied on persons' income and wealth and is paid directly to the government. Indirect tax is referred to as a tax levied on a person who consumes the goods and services and is paid indirectly to the government. Yes, direct tax it is paid directly. Indirect tax it is paid indirectly along with the goods and services payment. Next, nature. It is progressive in nature. It is regressive in nature. Incidence and impact. In direct tax it falls on the same person. In indirect tax it falls on different persons. Tax base. Income or wealth of the assessee in direct tax. Purchase, sale, manufacture of goods and provision of services in the case of indirect tax. Evasion. Tax evasion is possible in direct tax. It is not possible in indirect tax because it is included in the price of the goods and services. Inflation. Direct tax helps in controlling the inflation, whereas indirect tax push up price inflation. Imposition and collection. Imposed on and collected from assessee, that is individual. HUF, that is Hindu undivided family, company, firm, etc. Indirect tax, it is imposed on and collected from consumers of goods and services but paid and deposited by the assessee. And last one, the burden, it cannot be shifted, it can be shifted. Let us go to the next important topic, GST. What do you mean by GST? Yes, goods and service tax. Listen, GST is an indirect tax which has replaced many indirect taxes in India. It was passed in the Parliament on 29th March 2017. It came into effect on from 1st July 2017. GST is an indirect tax levied on the supply of goods and services. GST is one indirect tax for the entire country. In GST, the tax will be levied at the final point of sale. In case of intra-state sales, both central GST and state GST will be charged. In case of interstate sales, integrated GST will be charged. See, for example, destination based. If goods are manufactured in Tamil Nadu and are sold in Karnataka, then the entire tax revenue will go to Karnataka and not to the manufacturer Tamil Nadu. Components of GST. There are three components of GST. What are they? CGST, Central Goods and Service Tax. SGST, State Goods and Service Tax. IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax. See, what do you mean by CGST? It is collected by the central government on an intra-state sale. Example, within the state or within the union territory. SGST, it is collected by the state government on an intra-state sale. Example, within the state as well as within the union territory. What is IGST? It is collected by the central government for interstate sale, not intrastate sale, interstate sale, that is from one state to other state. Example, Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu. If Maharashtra is a producer of any commodity and if it is being purchased by Tamil Nadu, then the tax should be paid by the Tamil Nadu but not by the Maharashtra. These are the various components of GST. See the tax structure under the new regime, new system of government. See the tabular column, transaction, new regime and old regime. See the first transaction. If the sale is within the state, then the type of tax that we have to pay is both CGST and SGST. In olden period, that is before the introduction of this GST, the types of tax collected are VAT, central excise, service tax, etc. So this revenue will be shared equally between the center and the state. If the transaction is, that is, if the sale is to another state, then the type of tax collected here is IGST. The old name for this will be Central Sales Tax plus Excise Service Tax. Here, in this case, what will happen to the revenue means there will be only one type of tax, central, in this case, that is in case of interstate sale. The center will then share the IGST revenue based on the destination of goods to the other state government. Next, nature of sales tax, VAT and GST. What is VAT? VAT? Value added tax. See the sales tax. It is a multi-point tax with cascading effect. VAT, it was a multi-point tax without cascading effect. GST, it is one-point tax without cascading effect. What do you mean by cascading effect? It means a tax on tax. It is a situation wherein a consumer has to bear the load of tax on tax and inflationary prices as a result. Let us see the advantages of GST. GST will mainly remove the cascading effect on the sale of goods and services. Cascading effect, levying more and more taxes. Removal of cascading effect will directly impact the cost of goods. Since tax on tax is eliminated here, the cost of goods decreases. GST is also technologically driven. All activities like registration, return filing, application for refund and response filing, application for refund and response to notice need to be done online on the GST portal only. So everything is open in the case of GST, nothing is hidden. Let us go to the next very important topic, public debt. Yes, what is public debt? Let us see the meaning. Public debt is the total amount borrowed by the government of a country. Since 20th century, there has been enormous increase in the responsibilities of the state. Hence, the state has to supplement the traditional revenue sources with borrowing from individuals and institutions within and outside the country. This borrowing is more in underdeveloped countries to finance development activity. The debt burden is a big problem and most of the countries are in a debt trap. Yes, the government has more responsibilities in their hand for the welfare of the people and also for the economic development. They are involving in many of the infrastructure activities. So for all this they are in need of money. The revenue that is coming from the country is not enough, so they are forced to borrow from other sources, and they'll be repaying on the installment basis. This borrowing method is called as a public debt. Let us see the definitions for public debt given by the economists Philip E. Taylor and Carl S. Shoup. See the first definition given by Taylor. The debt is a form of promises by the Treasury to pay to the holders of these promises a principal sum and in most instances interest on the principal. Borrowing is resorted to in order to provide funds for financing a current deficit. Next, the receipt from the sale of financial instruments by the government to individuals or firms in the private sector to induce the private sector to release manpower and real resources and to finance the purchase of these resources or to make welfare payments or subsidies. Let us go to the next topic, types of public debt. There are two types of public debt, internal public debt and external public debt. An internal public debt is a loan taken by the government from the citizen or from different institutions within the country. It involves only transfer of wealth. Some of the sources are selling bonds to individuals, to private and public banks. External public debt. External public debt is a loan taken by the government from an international organization. The main sources are IMF, World Bank, IDA and ADB, etc. Yes, what is IDA? International Development Association, and ADB, Asian Development Bank. Yes, next topic, causes for the increase in public debt. Why the government is borrowing, both from internal and external. What is the reason behind? Let us see the causes. War and preparation of war, social obligation, economic development and deficit, employment, controlling inflation and fighting depression. See the first one, war and preparation of war. In modern times, the present time, the preparation for war and nuclear defense program takes away the major share of the government's revenue. Yes, defense is very important for any country. So in order to maintain a very good defense, the major share of the government's revenue is going for the preparation of war. So our government is incurring debt. Next, social obligation. Many social obligations like health, sanitation, education, insurance, transport and communication, etc. are undertaken by the government. To finance this, to start this, to set up this, the state is incurring heavy debt. Third, economic development and deficit. Projects like railway construction, power project, irrigation projects, heavy industries are taken by the government for development process. Due to heavy expenditure, the government always faces deficit budget. Such deficit is adjusted only through borrowing. Due to lack of money, the government is forced to borrow from other sources. Next, employment. To solve the unemployment problem and to fight recession, the government has to make huge expenditure and thereby borrows money. What do you mean by recession? downfall in the economy. Next, controlling inflation. The government can withdraw excess money from circulation by raising public debt and to prevent inflation. Next one, fighting depression. During depression, private investment lacks. So the government borrows from internal and external sources and face the public spending. These are all the causes for the increase in public debt. See the chart given. The various countries' external debt is being given here. So India is in the 22nd rank and it has got a debt of 5,29,000 US dollar millions. See other various countries are also the debt is being mentioned here, starting from USA, UK, France, Germany, Japan, China, Russia and India. Next topic, methods of redemption of public debt. What do you mean by redemption? The process of repaying the public debt is we have collected the debt, so we have to repay. So that process of repaying the public debt is called redemption of public debt. The following methods are adopted for debt redemption. We'll see what are they. First one, sinking fund. So the government maintains a sinking fund and it will repay it. How? The government credits every year a fixed amount of money to this fund. By the time the debt matures, this fund accumulates and enough to pay off the principal and the interest. So this is one method of repaying our debt. Next one is conversion. It means that an old loan is converted into a new loan. High interest public debt is converted into a low interest public debt. Conversion relaxes the debt burden. So what the government will do? The government will once again borrow for a low interest and it will pay the high interest loans. This is called as a conversion, converting the old loan into a new loan. High interest public debt is converted into a low interest public debt. Next, budgetary surplus. When the government presents surplus budget, it can be utilized for repaying the debt. What is surplus budget? When revenue is more than the expenditure, surplus occurs, but this is very rare case. None of the government is presenting the surplus budget. Next is terminal annuity. This is the easiest form of paying the debt. The government pays off the public debt on the terminal annuity in equal annual installment. For 1 year it will be repaying it on a installment basis. So this is very easiest way of paying the debt. Next topic is repudiation. It is the easiest way for the government to get rid of the burden of payment of a loan. That means the government will not pay the loan. The government does not recognize its obligation to repay the loan. It is not certainly paying off a loan but destroying. This is very simple. The government will not come forward to pay the loan. Next, reduction in rate of interest. It is a compulsory reduction in the rate of interest during the time of financial crisis. That is, during the time of financial crisis, the government will not pay the interest for the amount that it is borrowed. Instead, it will pay only the principal amount, not the interest. Next, capital levy. the government imposes levy, that is taxes, on the capital assets owned by an individual or any institution, then it is called as a capital levy. The fund so collected is used by the government to repay wartime debt obligation. This is the most controversial method of debt repayment. Is what the government will do. The government imposes taxes on capital assets owned by an individual or any private institution. This levy is imposed on capital assets above a minimum level of a progressive scale. So the fund that is collected by imposing the tax upon the private institution will be paid to clear the debt. But this is the most controversial method of debt repayment, which will be only rarely done by the government. This is such a big lesson. It's not yet over. It will be continued. We can see it in the part 3.